This is KGW News at noon.
Should have been a life in prison without the possibility of parole.
That man obviously upset about what happened in court today after a judge sentenced the person who stabbed and killed his coworker last year. Thank you for joining us today. I'm Christine Pitawanich. Moses Lopez, who identifies as a transgender woman, was in court this morning and changed her plea to guilty on charges of first-degree manslaughter and unlawful use of a weapon. A judge sentenced her to 22 years in prison for stabbing Reese Lahan, a radio cab driver, while riding in his back seat last April. Police say before the stabbing, there was some confusion or a misunderstanding about where Lopez would be dropped off. At the time, Lopez already had a warrant out for her arrest from Coos County, but those charges are expected to be waived as part of today's plea deal. We spoke with one of Lahan's radio cab colleagues at the time of his death.
In over 10 years, he never had a single complaint with us, and the best of the best get complaints, so that says something.
KGW reporter Daisy Caballero was in the hearing, and we'll have more details on the news at 4. And this noon, we have more information about a shooting in southwest Portland that sent one person to the hospital. Portland police say it happened last night around 7 o'clock near the intersection of Southwest Barber Boulevard and 30th Avenue. When police arrived, they found a man had shot another man that he thought was trying to rob him. The person who was shot went to the hospital. Detectives are in contact with the accused shooter. So far, there have been no arrests, but police are continuing their investigation. We also learned in the last hour that U.S. Marshals have arrested a man in connection to the shooting death of a security guard in May of 2022. 31-year-old Cedric Washington Jr. of Portland is in custody and charged with murder. 22-year-old Sir Charles Mark Anthony Jones was working as a security guard at the Marriott Residence Inn along South River Parkway when he was shot. Now to another big story that broke this morning. The head of Boeing's 737 MAX 9 program, Ed Clark, has left the company. That's according to a memo. This comes as Boeing's production and safety measures are being heavily scrutinized after a door plug blew out over Portland last month. Clark oversaw the company's Renton, Washington production facility, where the MAX 9 involved in the door plug fiasco was finished. Katie Ringgold is replacing him as vice president and general manager. Meantime, Boeing CEO Dave Calhoun plans to meet with the FAA next week. And at 10 o'clock this morning, Park Rose High School students came together to protest plans to turn the old Kmart lot in Northeast into a freight warehouse. It's right across from their school. The San Francisco-based company Prologis signed a lease for the site back in November after the abandoned Kmart building caught fire last July. It's since been knocked down. Thousands of people have now signed a petition asking for a better option. They're worried about air quality and freight traffic. Meanwhile, Prologis says it's working to address concerns and says the lot is zoned for industrial use. KGW's Deidre Johnson is at the protest now, and we'll have more on the news at 4. Okay, talking weather now with Chris McGinnis. What's it looking like?
Well, we're starting to poke some holes in the cloud cover, but at the same time, it's still raining. So a little bit of a mixed bag, I suppose, for the remainder of this afternoon. And may even hear a rumble of thunder a little bit later on today. All right, here's the live look from our Wells Fargo sky camera. And as we put up the current temperatures, the breeze is a little gusty out there right now, sustained out of the south at 14. Current temperature at PDX 53, where it is cloudy. It's 51 in Hillsborough, 52 Aurora, and the big perspective across the state. Nobody terribly cold. As we get into the latter days of February here, it's 50 in Tillamook, and we hop over the Cascades. We're in the 40s right now. Burns, Rome, John Day, and Pendleton. All right, radar. Over the last 3 hours, we've been getting splashed occasionally with showers. Some of those occasionally heavy as well. And as we go out to the live scan right now, we've got a pretty good cell now rolling through central Yamhill County, another pretty good cell up in northern Clark County, and another one just now popping in Columbia County. As we go out wider, all of these are sort of rotating around this storm center that's just off the Olympic Peninsula. As we go into the afternoon, I don't see any lightning indicators on here just yet, but it is entirely possible that we hear a little thunder in some parts of the Willamette Valley. And if you get one of those, obviously the shower will be quite heavy. There will be some dry time, and the temperature is not really going very far from where we are right now. I've got us at about 54 for a high today. The rain threat really diminishes overnight tonight, and then I think we're heading into a stretch of a couple of pretty nice days, at least by February standards, before we talk about lowering snow levels next week.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Yeah, we're still in it.
Making you want to get away?
I know. And speaking of getting away, do you have any vacation plans this year, Chris?
I'd say 2 cross-country trips with small ones last year was enough, so I think we'll keep it local for spring break this year.
Okay, well, if your plans change or if any of you watching are thinking about flying, depending on what airline you choose, you might have to pay more to check your bags. NBC's Tom Costello has details on American Airlines' new baggage fees.
Just in time for spring break and effective immediately, American Airlines is charging more to check luggage. $35 for the first checked bag if in advance paid online. $40 if paying at the airport, up from the current $30 baggage fee. The second checked bag will cost $45, a $5 increase. American is also charging more for checked bags to Canada and Mexico. But passengers can avoid the luggage fees if they hold elite status with American's loyalty program, buy a premium class ticket, or use an American branded credit card.
So this definitely can impact not only just the average consumer wallet, but it really hits home for families that are traveling with multiple bags.
And there's another change. Starting on May 1st, American says customers will only earn frequent flyer points if they buy tickets directly from American or a preferred online travel agency. In an email to customers, American says when you book directly with American, you enjoy the best possible travel experience. To check or not to check has been the debate for years.
We'd now like to welcome any travelers with carry-ons that have no chance of fitting in the overhead compartment.
It'll fit. Oh, it'll fit.
With many passengers packing everything into carry-ons. So will other airlines follow American in hiking luggage fees? Delta now charges $30 for the first bag. United charges $30 in advance. Alaska and JetBlue just raised their prices to $35. At Spirit, $44 is the cheapest fee, while bags still fly free on Southwest.
The airline industry is a copycat industry where usually when you see one airline change a policy, you're likely to see other airlines do the same. As more and more passengers return to travel, airlines are really raking it in terms of baggage fees and other fees.
Portland city leaders announced gun violence in Portland dropped by 22% last year. That's more than double the goal that Mayor Ted Wheeler laid out back in 2022 when he declared gun violence a state of emergency in the city. The largest decline in the homicide victim rate was among Black Portlanders. That rate dropped 28%. Gun safety advocates say the numbers are promising, but their work isn't done.
It means we actually can create strategies and models that don't add harm to the community and actually reduce crime. So when you talk about that heavy hand, they're not supposed to come in with the heavy hand. And we see that taking that heavy hand off, but still believing in enforcement and accountability has actually worked.
Several community programs were created to help address Portland's gun violence, including one called Ceasefire that was adopted last June. It helps identify people who are at the highest risk of gun violence, establishes a relationship with them, and gives them support. 3 Multnomah County jail deputies are accused of facilitating fights and giving contraband to inmates. But they won't be facing charges because the district attorney can't prove any crimes were committed. But the case did prompt the sheriff's office to open up its own investigation into what happened. Here's KGW's Alma McCarty with the details.
Although the Multnomah County DA's office declined criminal charges, the sheriff said Tuesday the alleged conduct from 3 of her corrections deputies calls for further scrutiny, so they'll be opening a professional standards investigation. Those allegations detailed in reports from Oregon State Police. In them, inmates inside of the Multnomah County Detention Center allege the deputies facilitated fights or let them get jumped by other inmates, provided contraband like weed, and allowed access to cell phones. Some reported that 2 of the 3 were considered to be honorary gang members in the specific unit where they worked. and were known to open cell doors and allow those gang members to enter and attack non-gang members. A criminal investigation ran its course, but Sheriff Nicole Morrissey O'Donnell still calls the alleged conduct egregious and unacceptable, not to be tolerated within their organization. The new probe will be conducted by an independent investigator. As these claims of misconduct date back several years, the sheriff pointed out significant changes they've already taken to ensure jail oversight, like installing new security cameras, reforming the complaint process for those in custody, and expanding the corrections deputy training program.
That was Alma McCarty reporting. We reached out to the DA and the sheriff's office, but both did not want to comment. Alma also reached out to the Oregon State Police, but did not hear back. Meanwhile, the 3 deputies under investigation have been on paid administrative leave for the past 17 months.